Poppy K and her bookish thoughts, adventures with ogres and astronauts. Poppy K and her bookish thoughts. Poppy K, subscribe, like, comment and share. So hello, welcome back to my reading vlog. This week I am reading this book on my Kindle. I just thought I'd stop and give you a little run through. It is Haunting Adeline, a cat and mouse duet by H.D. Carlton, and this is book number 1. So before I even begin, there are a lot of trigger warnings in this book, and I mean a lot. It's very dark, very, very, very dark, and there are a lot of trigger warnings in here, so I would check them out before you begin to read this, if you want to read this. But I mean, I'm loving the old dark romances at the minute, so it's quite extreme, but I am enjoying it at the moment, having a good time at the minute. Well, not a good time, but you know what I mean. So basically we are following an author, and her name is Adeline, or Addie, and she inherits a house, a big house, which was her grandmother's and her great-grandmother's, and they both died in strange circumstances. Adeline's mum doesn't want her to live there, but she's like, look, whatever, she doesn't really like her mum. And Adeline is a author. So she was at a book signing in one of the local bookshops, and there was this guy. She said she could feel like that she was being watched, and this guy was watching her from way, way back. And he is called Zane, and he is Zaid Meadows, also known as Z, and he is the leader of an underground organisation. Basically, it aims to end human trafficking, and he has begun to stalk Adeline because he finds her very attractive. Now, I'm in two minds about Zaid at the minute. I'm literally about a third of the way through the book. About 30%. Oh, excuse me. And he seems to be, I mean, obviously he's part of this underground group that tries to prevent human trafficking and all this kind of thing. And he's very concerned about children and people being attacked and things like that, and essayed and all that sort of stuff. However, he himself is stalking someone. So he's like, he is good cop, bad cop, do you know what I mean? So he's doing something in his work that is for good, yet in his private life he's obsessed with Adeline, and he's doing some pretty bad mixed up stuff so far. So that is what I've got to so far. But I am quite enjoying it at the moment. It comes as a 2-parter. It's actually on KU at the moment, so if you want to read it, run on over to KU, it's there. And then if you get the book, you can actually get the audio for like £3 something. So but yeah, definitely worth worth the read if you've got KU. So anyway, I will come back and give you a little update in a bit. Hello. Now, as you know, I'm reading Haunting Adeline, and there's just something I really can't get the grasp of, and it's the fact that Zaid? Yeah, is it Zaid? I think it's Zaid. Is stalking Adeline, obviously. But Zaid is he's not a detective, he's like an undercover type vigilante, is that the right word to use? And he goes out and tries to locate rings of people who are trafficking and things like that, of women and children and things. And Adeline, obviously she's very scared of when he comes in and he's doing these particular things to her. But I was listening to a podcast. I love listening to the Osbournes, and they had somebody on there. I can't remember who it was. I will actually link the podcast below, because it was actually, I mean, I love listening to him anyway. But she was talking about it, and I'm just going to have a look, 'cause it's actually called something. How do I word this? It's called something and I can't remember. I'll have to have a look and see if I can find it. Right, I'm going to come back and I'm going to see if I can find it. Wait there. Okay, so I found it. It is called hybristophilia, and it's basically the phenomenon of an individual being sexually aroused by a criminal offender. And I think that is what Adeline has. And it was just, I was literally listening to the podcast yesterday. It was their new podcast this week. And obviously this was right at the end of the podcast. And yeah, so they were talking about why people fall in love with murderers and things and write to them in jail and stuff like that. And when she said that, that made me connect this book. So just a little, anyway, I am halfway through the book. I have got a few, well, I'm 50%, I think. I don't know, my Kindle's turned off. I'm about 50% in, but I'm going to sit back and finish it. So hopefully I'll be finished it soon, because I want to start on another book that I got in the post the other day. So anyway, that is what that is. So it's hybristophilia. There you go. Well, hello. I have finished both of the books in the Cat and Mouse Duet, and I have some things to say. So in the first book, we are haunting Adeline, and we have the two characters. I've just got it written up here. Zaid and Adeline. Now, Zaid is the leader of a vigilante group whose biggest quest is to stop human trafficking, or selling skin, as they call it, the skin trade, I think is what they call it. That is his biggest thing. He hates anything like that. However, he goes to a book signing because he notices all these people. He goes to a book signing and notices this woman, the author of said books, and he stands right at the back of the shop, and basically he's obsessed. He's absolutely obsessed by her. So he literally starts stalking her, and then there are certain things that happen, and Adeline is basically being stalked by this guy, and let's just say he doesn't treat her very well. Now, having said that, if you do want to read these books, I think I have said this at the beginning of the video, there are trigger warnings that are as long as my arm. This book is dark. This book is brutal. I'd say, actually, that's how I would describe it. It's a brutal book. So if you are triggered by anything like that, I would definitely check first. However, some of it was brutal. We'll just go that way. We'll just say brutal. And so he basically starts stalking her in the first book. In the second book, we are then hunting Adeline. So something happens at the end of that book that then means that he has to look for Adeline. Now, the way that the author has written this, I think, is very, very clever, because in the first book, you kind of, I particularly, it's not, I'd say I hated him. He just wasn't my favourite character, and I just thought, you're just not, in some aspects, obviously when he was saving children and things like that, what an amazing hero. But when he was doing what he was doing with Adeline, I was like, oh, I don't know, it's making me feel a bit uncomfortable, However, in the second book, you kind of, the roles are reversed. Adeline is still Adeline, but he then is, you open up to him and you warm to him, certain aspects of his character, and I think that's what makes you gun for these two. I think that's the way that they've done it, and it's quite clever how she's done it. As I say, great books. I have bought them on physical copy because I would like to read them again, just so then I can kind of pick up on things that I've missed. I think that's what I'm going to do going forward, is I'm probably going to reread some of these books that I have been reading, just because I know that I miss things all the time. So things like Fourth Wing and the Iron Flame and things like that, I think I will do a couple of rereads of those. I need to reread my Crescent City before January, because that book comes out. But yeah, I don't want to say I enjoyed this book, but I did enjoy this book. If you get my, it was a good read. As I say, if you like that sort of thing, if you feel a bit triggered by stuff like that, then I probably wouldn't read it. But yeah, it's a good read. It's on, as I say, it's on Kindle Unlimited at the minute. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read that now. It is also, if you buy, I bought it on Kindle Unlimited, and then you get offered the audiobook for like £3.50 or something. So I thought that was pretty good. So, but yeah, it's also told in two POVs. So obviously you've got Zaid's POV and you've got Adeline's POV. So the chapters, it's not every chapter it swaps over, but it kind of does, but it'll tell you at the beginning of the chapter whose POV it is. So that is this week's book. I think I'm going to read my Cassandra Clare book this week. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm like. I've got it on my bed. It's all ready to go. I'm a few chapters in anyway, so I might just get it read. Do you know what I mean? So I will speak to you next week. Have a great day. Bye.